a new 1203BARRETT TV revival episode, and in this episode, I'm going to be ranking worst to best of the Sly Cooper 2 villains. Which, yeah, I have already done one for the first Sly Cooper game, and now we are going to be, now that I have completed my walkthrough on Sly 2, and before we start Slide 3, I want to do my ranking on the bosses slash villains in Slide 2. Which, yeah, I definitely love Slide 2. It's definitely one of my absolute favorite Sly Cooper games, I would say. And greatest sequels as well. So, hopefully y'all enjoy this. And again, this is all my opinion. Do keep this in mind. This is all my opinion, of course. And these won't be going in order of the villains, of course. You know, like from the first villain to the last villain, I would say. These are going to be out of order, but the same villains, though. Going through the villains either way. Just from what I consider the worst to the best one. Again, in my opinion.
Though time was short, we made sure to study up on our unknowing host, Arpeggio. While attending a prestigious boarding school, the young Arpeggio excelled in all subjects, but he never managed to keep up with the other boys physically. Sadly, his wings, due to their small size, were useless for flight. Furious at his feeble body, he focused his powerful mind to search for a cure in the works of the Italian Renaissance masters. Their notebooks provided the springboard for this sinister young genius, and it wasn't long before the Claw Gang took him on as chief inventor. His talents must have been at work repurposing all the clockwork parts for their criminal schemes, and now this mastermind is in possession of all the parts. It's only a matter of time before he puts them back together, and when that happens, well, I'm not going to let that happen.
Starting at the bottom of the list, the very bottom, and the worst category, is our Arpeggio. Yeah, he was not as of a villain that we would have thought he would have been. I mean, yeah, they made him seem like a pretty intense antagonist, right? They built him up pretty good, just for him to be wasted on, right? In Sly 2, he sounded like he was going to be a pretty good antagonist, but no, he was just wasted on, I would say, and yeah, kind of disappointing of a villain, too. Especially since this is a villain that we actually don't get to fight. Yeah, we don't even get to fight him properly. Like, yeah, his time was cut short. His time was absolutely cut short in Sly 2.
It took a sleepless week of data crunching, but I eventually tracked down the location of my friends, locked away in the mysterious towers of Prague. At the moment, they are the unwilling guests of Interpol's most renowned prison warden, the Contessa. While still a criminal psychology student, she entered into a whirlwind romance and married a wealthy aristocrat. Sadly, the union was short-lived, as the general suspiciously died a few weeks after the ceremony. The widowed Contessa put her education and newly acquired estate to work by opening a criminal rehabilitation center. Her pioneering use of hypnotherapy has produced some good results and subsequently earned her a prominent position within Interpol. My friends are locked up somewhere in the clinic and are slated for the Contessa's Good Samaritan brainwashing. If I don't bust them out soon, they'll be working a 9-to-5 job selling shoes, and I'll be out two best friends.
The next one is the Contessa. Yeah, which, again, she is a cool concept of a villain, but yeah, she's kind of weak as well. I hate to say she is kind of weak. I mean, again, I like her concept of her being like a spider, her design being like a spider, and her being like a warden as well. And that whole segment where he had to play as Bentley to rescue Sly and Carmelita and Murray, I meant to say. I do like the whole thing, but yes, he isn't one of the greatest, I would say, when it comes to our actual boss fight.
Following the trail of spice shipments, we made our way up to Nunavut Bay, Canada, the secret hub of Jean Bisson's shipping empire. As a young man, he trekked across Canada to strike it rich during the gold rush of 1852. An avid prospector, he took some chances and ended up buried alive in an avalanche. Miraculously, the quick freeze kept him alive, and 120 years later, thanks to global warming, he thawed out. A product of his time, he dreams of taming the wild north, damming every river and chopping down all the trees, with progress delivered at the sharp end of an axe. Shipping spice for the Claw Gang proved a lucrative way to bankroll his one-man war against nature. And yet, I have to feel a little sorry for him. He's just a normal guy from the 1850s. Back in his day, he'd be a hero, but today, he's a villain. Either way, that man's got more than his fair share of the clockwork parts. What a low-tech guy like Jean Bisson is doing with robot parts is a mystery. I almost don't want to know. But as always, it's only a matter of time before I find out.
And number one for the worst category, or the worst villains, is Jean Bisson. Yeah, I really did not like just looking at it now again, I'm having to re-look at all these different bosses and for this ranking. And yeah, he wasn't really the greatest in my opinion. And I mean, I do like his design though. His design is really cool. I guess I just had a lot of a lot of miss hopes for this villain, I would say. And yeah, there's some parts of him that's pretty cool, but I feel like he is kind of the weaker one, in my opinion, of the villains of Sly 2. I would just have to say.
I had to call in a few favors to get the goods on the Claw Gang's local operator. Dimitri, a sort of underworld celebrity, equally at home in high-class art circles and shady back-alley crimes. He was once a passionate young art student who worked hard to develop his own visionary style. Unfortunately, the art world wasn't quite ready for his kinetic aesthetic. So he gave them what they wanted and started forging old masterpieces. His way of punishing those with bad taste. Dimitri now runs a nightclub on the west side. The thumping music, colorful light shows, and a hint of danger lure in chic young patrons from far and wide. And it's here, hidden somewhere, where we'll find the clockwork tail feathers.
Going into the best category, like the first of the three best villains, and that is Dimitri. I love Dimitri in Sly 2. He's definitely a really cool villain, a really funny villain too, especially the way that he talks as well. I really do like, and again, definitely one of my favorite characters as well. So obviously, I had to put him on the first best one of the villains for sure. But he's definitely a really good villain that I enjoy. And again, he's the first villain of the game too, so that's what makes it even better.
Another clockwork part had surfaced in India, so the boys and I loaded up the van and zeroed in on our next target, a mysterious spice lord known as Rajan. A self-made man who grew up poor on the streets of Calcutta, he started his life of crime selling illegal spices in the black market, eventually growing his small outfit to a sizable operation, and earning himself a seat in the prestigious Claw Gang. He's since crowned himself Lord of the Hills, and while he goes to great lengths to convince others of his royalty, it's mostly to convince himself. True to form, he's holding a lavish ball in his newly purchased ancestral palace. The reason? To show off his latest acquisition, the clockwork wings. The symbol of my enemy. If you saw the wings silhouetted against the night sky, it was already too late for you, especially if your name was Cooper. Rajan believes displaying the wings will bring him prestige.
Second of the best villains, in my opinion, is Rajan. Yeah, he's definitely a really cool antagonist that I definitely do enjoy, and especially when it comes to his actual fight when you're actually playing as Murray. definitely really cool of a villain, I would definitely say for sure. A villain I definitely just enjoy.
Stupid arpeggio. I double-crossed the Cooper gang, Interpol, and Carmelita. What made you think I wouldn't do the same to you? Behold, Kalakla is born!
Then, my number one favorite villain of Sly 2 is Klokla, aka Nala, right? Constable Nala, but Klokla. Yeah, she was a pretty cool twist of an antagonist, I would say. Especially from her betraying the Cooper gang and getting them arrested, along with Inspector Carmelita Fox as well. Like, yeah, she was quite a crazy villain. Or twist antagonist, I would say, and really cool to actually fight her when with her basically wanting to, or she is inside of clockwork, right? The body of clockwork, and her getting basically mixed with clockwork himself, right? Him getting mixed with clockwork himself in the body, and with the hate chip as well. But yeah, obviously she was a pretty cool antagonist for the final boss, I would say, and pretty challenging as well. Definitely kind of prefer her fight with on hair than the whole clockwork fight himself, but maybe that's just me though. But yeah, those are my worst to best villains of Sly 2. In general, I really do like the designs and the backstories of all the villains of Sly 2, just like in Sly 1, and going to be when I do Sly 3. But these are ranking, my ranking of the worst to best of the villains in Sly 2. But yeah, I'd like to know what y'all think, though. Definitely would love to know what y'all think. And what is y'all's favorite villain, personally, and Sly Cooper 2? Again, I will be doing Slide 3 once we have completed it on my walkthrough. So yeah, definitely stay tuned for when I do the Slide 3 villains. Yeah, I'd like to know what y'all think. I'm the guys. Catch you next one.